Well, good morning. Brand Thornton here from Alamo, Nevada. And as usual, my birds are going to be making a lot of noise. So I'll just have to talk over them. Um, I got a lot of bones to pick. So many, I can't even keep track of them anymore. Probably the biggest one is what's happening to Emmett Bundy up there in Idaho. Um, you know, law enforcement run amok. Um, Corporate media, corporate this, that are controlling our rights, our Constitution. It's unbelievable the things that are taking place uh, in this country, and it isn't getting any better. You know, um, I protest. I'm an activist. I protest as much as I can, and I don't see hardly any results. I don't see people really wanting freedom anymore. They're either misled, uneducated, or just unintelligent, and they don't see what's actually taking place right in front of their eyes. Turn this down a little bit. Um, wow, and it's everywhere and it's rampant. Look at the January 6th. It's been over 2 years now, and they're just now getting down to the trials of the Proud Boys, and it comes out that the FBI has been hiding all this exculpatory evidence, Brady violations, something like 4,000 um, documents of evidence. What the hell, Speaking of what the hell, my hair I just got up a little while ago. So, anyhow, uh, I'll be 71 years old here pretty quick, and I've had the opportunity to watch the deterioration of this country. Not that it was a good opportunity, but I've watched it, going back as a child, and everybody was, for the most part, respectful to each other, respectful to the law, respectful to law enforcement, and law enforcement was respect to the people, and government officials tended to be more respectful. And of course, there's always been some corruption there. Look at it now. And everybody used to want a job, or wanted to be an entrepreneur, wanted to be a hardworking credit to society, and take care of their families and take care of their friends and people in general. They just wanted to be good, for the most part. Not everything, of course, but for the most part, they just wanted to take care of each other, and it bothered people. It really bothered people when somebody's rights were taken away, and I mean bothered everybody. Okay, I don't know what's happened to America. Look at France. They get together and protest big time, and a lot of these other countries do the same thing. When things are going wrong for the individual, they get out and do something about it. I don't know what's happened. We had some really good results at the Bundy standoff. We had several thousand people out there from across this country, and it seems like it's gone downhill ever since. The Maui Refuge, in my opinion, it was very successful in a lot of ways, but it didn't materialize the way it should have. It should have really aroused the public far more than it did. It seems like nobody really wants to do what it takes to preserve liberty, and so what do we got to look forward to? Not a whole lot. Look what they're coming out with these things and going to put mRNA in our beef. Holy cow. If it wasn't bad enough, everything else they'd put in our sky or air, chemtrails, poisoning everything. I mean, everything. I listen to Charlie Spooner. He's a editor for sporting magazines and things of that nature, and he was talking about across this country how the upland game is just disappearing, and they don't know why. Well, I can tell you why. when you keep chemtrailing this country with aluminum, barium, and all these other poisonous things, what do you think's going to happen? You know, you talk about the canary in the, in the mine. Well, upland game is like a canary in the mine. And they're really, in a lot of ways, they're fragile birds. When you interrupt their food supply with poisons, what do you think's going to happen? That's why they're all dying off across this country. Okay, when I say upland game, I'm talking primarily of pheasants and grouse and quail, things of that nature. Okay, our food has been devitalized. It has absolutely been devitalized. Commercial growing practices, they're bad. But look what's happening to our food delivery systems. Our production lines, our distribution lines. They're getting blown up left and right. Who's investigating this? I mean, whoever is doing a pretty poor job, pretty much, is going to investigate the train derailments. Huh? Is the trains themselves? Does that make a lot of friggin' sense? No. And you know what? You can't hardly get the cops to do anything outside of what their scope is given to them by the corporations. They work for corporations. They don't work for the Constitution of the United States anymore. Again, generally speaking, but pretty much. Do they? I mean, it's ridiculous. Cops always go for the low-hanging fruit, and that's up to their discretion, and it's subjective. Oh, you got a light out on your license plate, and we're going to pull you over and give you a ticket, and we're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and if you decide to ask those questions, well, we'll end up bringing a dog out and, sniff around your car, and if we can't find any drugs, well, maybe we'll just plant some. This has been going on for some time. There's all kinds of documentation on that. So what happens is law enforcement always takes advantage of the situation because that's their motivation. That's how they get raises. Okay, that's how they get kudos. Oh, you know what? Kudos to you. You just wrote a whole bunch of tickets this day, and you brought in a whole bunch of money, and then, the judges and the mayors and whatever, they can give themselves another pay increase because you're doing such a good job in stealing from the public. Oh boy, it just gets worse by the day. But right now I'm most concerned for Ammon Bundy. There's no doubt that he's on a hit list there in Idaho, and we need to pray for him. Pray for him, his family, that he will be protected by God, watched over. All he did was show up to protest the CPS, Child Protective Services, and kidnapping a baby. That's all he did. And Diego, same thing. It was his grandson. And you know what? They found out that there was nothing wrong with that baby, and there never was anything wrong. But that's a lesson to everybody. You avoid hospitals, doctors at all costs. Child Protective Service show up at the door, you don't unlock that door. If they come with the police, you don't unlock that door. You don't unlock the door for police, all right? You don't give them even a toehold, because if you give them a toehold, it's like the old saying, give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and they will. They will take a mile. It will escalate. And you got to learn how to talk to the cops. Basically, you just don't say anything, Give me the ticket, I'll see you in court, okay? Get cameras all around your vehicle, okay? Forward, backwards, record everything. Well, I just ordered a whole bunch of cameras for my new vehicle, all right? And they're going to be able to record frontwards and backwards. And what's funny is I actually drive the speed limit, unlike most people I know, or a lot of people I know, because I respect, vehicles can be very dangerous. And, if you get in an accident, you're pretty well screwed a lot of times. So I drive like an old lady, and I've done that for a long, long time. If the speed limit's 80, I'll do like 70, 75, get in the right-hand lane. And so you just got to be really careful out there in so many ways. But getting back to what I was originally talking about is you just don't talk to the police. They're not your friend. Now, let me qualify that. I live in a little town, and these police seem to be really good people. They just don't go picking on everybody. I kind of got to know some of them, and I have no problems with them. It's when you get into the bigger cities, most of the time you really run into problems, or high concentrated areas, like back east. Even those little towns there, you got some of those little towns, they have speed traps all over the place, and you got to be careful there. So I think I'm rambling quite a bit. I don't know what else I can say. You know, we got to come together somehow, some way, as freedom-loving people, and just put our foot down. Unfortunately, I don't see it. I really don't. The last protest I was at was in Farmington, Utah, for the murder of Chase Allen. Anybody seen that video? That is just gut-wrenching. Just gut-wrenching. This was a fine young man, a credit to society, a huge loss. A huge loss. He was standing up for his rights, the Constitution of the United States, and he is a marked man because his mother was doing the same thing, and she had a lawsuit going against the Farmington Police Department. And I think his marked man, they just, you know, it was obviously he's a marked man. And, you know, the Farmington Police, guess what? Title 18, Section 45, the right to travel. You know, you guys violated that. And then you actually violated Title 18, Section 241 and 242, all right? And murder. And you could go to prison for life if this gets, you know, you've obviously lost your qualified immunity, all right? This needs to go before a federal court. And you guys need to go to prison for life, okay? What you did to that young man was murder. You know, you're ego tripping, wanting to make a mark for yourself, whatever. What you did was so bad, it was so wrong, that it's indefensible and you can't actually put it into words. Okay. Again, I'm kind of rambling, hitting a lot of topics, and probably not going to do any good for anybody. It's pretty sad. It's getting sadder by the day. You know, they're even calling for another pandemic. When I say calling for another pandemic, yeah. And but I don't think the American people will put up with it this time. You know, that last one crippled our economy, and we still haven't recovered for it. The good thing about in the state of Nevada, there is no qualified immunity any longer in the state of Nevada. It was done away with. Also, our governor said this state will never be turned around or shut down. And I will back him with everything I have. If the feds come in and try to shut this state down, I will back our governor. You know, and then our previous governor, Sisolak, you know, he has so many lawsuits going against him, civil and criminal, that he vacated the premise. He went to Chicago, Illinois to teach at a college. To teach government at a college. The man that almost single-handedly destroyed this state. And I don't think he can be extradited. I wish he could be extradited because he needs to go to prison for life too. Okay, over and out. I hope somebody watches this.